Now, I've been playing No Man's Sky for years, and I've put in God knows how many hours into this game over that time. And I've often thought, surely I know pretty much everything about that game, even to some of the most intricate of details. But over the years, and especially recently, there have been times when I've thought, how on earth did that take me so long to realise that that was a thing? Some of these are painfully obvious to some players as well, whereas some of them are really lesser known little features. So I've decided to create this video going over a bunch of small features and quirks about No Man's Sky that I wish I'd known a lot sooner. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. If you get to the end of this video, folks, and you have some awesome features in No Man's Sky that you wish you had known earlier and that I haven't included in this video, why don't you leave a comment below letting us all know what that lesser known feature is. So, first up, let's talk about scanning things because, to put it simply, it's taken me far too long to figure out that when you're using your scanner on a planet, you can in fact zoom in on things. Like what? For hundreds upon hundreds of hours, I did not know this was a feature at all. And it's only because I accidentally pressed down on the right trigger on my PlayStation controller that I figured it out. Not sure what the equivalent is on PC, but there are 3 zoom scales for your scanner, so it makes scanning those things in a distance much easier. I mean, man, to think I've been messing around trying to get my aim correct or just moving closer to the objects when I could have just zoomed in on things to make my life easier from the start. I did read somewhere though that this isn't a thing when playing using virtual reality, and as I don't play in VR, someone may have to confirm that for me in the comments. Next up, let's talk about your starship and when you happen to be flying around, and perhaps more specifically, when you find yourself in a combat situation. Did you know that if you press up on your controller's D-pad, and I'm sorry PC guys, I'm not entirely sure what your equivalent button is, but if you do press up on that D-pad, you can reroute power to different aspects of your starship. For example, you can give your shields, your engines, or your weapons a boost when you find yourself in a dogfight in which everyone needs a little bit of a boost at a certain time. Similar to how you can do this in other space fighting games like, I don't know, Starfield, that has the same sort of feature. Honestly, I do not know how I've been playing this game for so long and didn't know that this feature was a thing. And I suppose that applies to most of the items in this list. Yeah, you can give your starship engines, weapons and shields a boost by simply pressing the D-pad up whilst in your spaceship. Let's take things on up to the galaxy map for these next 2 items in this list, and the first one is the galaxy map turbo mode. Now, what I mean by Galaxy Map Turbo Mode is if you happen to be looking around the galaxy map, so whether that be for a certain system, maybe you're looking for a black hole or an atlas, or maybe you're just trying to go as far as you can so you can warp. But whatever you happen to be doing, you can in fact zoom through the map using a special boost. I say special, all you need to do is press a button and you'll be whizzing through the map much quicker than you were before. And to do this on console, the button is R1 or RB, whether you're on Xbox or PlayStation. I'm not totally sure what the equivalent button is for you PC guys, I'm afraid, but just try whichever is your melee button. It should do the trick. I mean, if the sprint button didn't already have a function in the galaxy map, I would say that would have been a better option, but here we are. You can still zoom through it regardless. Still sticking within the galaxy map, I must admit this one is quite embarrassing that it took me so long for me to figure out because there is an actual button for it on the damn screen. But you can indeed filter the star systems using a bunch of different metrics in the galaxy map. Now, I knew you could change the target to say a quest marker or the galactic core or whatever else, but for some reason I decided never to look slightly right at that option on the upper part of the screen to see that you can also filter the systems based on economy, life forms, or conflict levels. God fucking damn it guys, it's right there and has probably been there for years, but I didn't know it was a thing until very recently. Now, changing the filter as you'd expect changes the system colours, and this can be useful if you want to, say, find a specific species freighter crew, or if you want to make money in a rich economy system, for example. But Filter your galaxy map, folks. It's super simple and it has been on the screen for God knows how long. Super annoying and quite frankly quite embarrassing that I've only just figured out this is a feature. Moving on to freighters now, and again until recently, I didn't know that you could summon your freighter whilst you happen to be stood on the ground of a planet. Yep, I genuinely did not know that was possible until a few months ago. You may think, well, yeah, but what's the point? You can't fly into it if you're on the ground without a ship, but if you're on the ground and you need some resources from your freighter, or you want to transfer some resources to your freighter to make some space, you can just summon it into nearby orbit and, assuming you've got the matter beam installed, transfer resources to and from it to your heart's content. But if you're not interested in the resources on your freighter or you don't want to pass any resources to it, even summoning it in, it does look pretty darn awesome just floating there just outside of orbit, so sit there and admire the great view, guys. These next two items in the list revolve around crafting resources, and first up, if you're, say, I don't know, building a base or repairing various technology components or whatever, and you need to craft multiple of the same item, instead of crafting one after the other, did you know that you can, in fact, just craft multiple items in one go? Yep, it's super simple and it will save you a whole bunch of time. If you're playing on either the PlayStation or Xbox, all you need to do is hit R1 or L1 or RB and LB to increase and decrease the amount of that resources you want to craft in a single go. Again, sorry PC and Switch guys, I'm not entirely sure what the equivalent buttons are for you, but I'm sure you can figure it out when you next look into your inventory and craft a few bits and bobs. And sticking with crafting, let's say you want to craft something pretty complicated, like a stasis device or a fusion igniter. Crafting both of these things will require you to first craft many other resources along the way to finally get them. And it can be worth it because both of these resources are worth I think 15 million units a pop, something like that. But to make your life much easier, and something I didn't know about for quite a while, is you can view the entire crafting tree needed for both of those resources. And, well, in fact, any craftable resource to be fair. So within the game, you can craft all the sub-resources from this view super easily as you go along. It makes crafting incredibly easy, and it's far easier than doing what I used to do and Googling the crafting tree and then going through that list to save yourself some time. So do it in the game, guys. Don't do what I used to do. It's so much easier. You probably all know about the nutrient processor in the game. I certainly do and have done for a long time, though I tend not to use it that much, if at all really, which also probably explains why I never knew about this feature for fecking ages. But the nutrient processor has its very own storage capacity. 25 slots of it to be exact, and you can use this to store resources to free up some space in your exosuit inventory, or other inventory. Now, you can't go putting in any old resource into this storage. I think it's only for resources that can be used in cooking, but nevertheless, you can store resources in it, and then you can pick it up and will only be using one inventory space in your exosuit. If you then put it back down, all of those resources you already stored in there will still be in there. Nice tip for managing some inventory space if you find yourself a bit short. Mining resource deposits is one of the first things you'll probably ever learn to do in No Man's Sky, so the terrain manipulator and its functions around that are nothing new to anyone, even beginners. But did you know you can change the size of the terrain manipulator for mining these deposits? It's easy to do. You press L1 or LB and R1 or RB on consoles, and again, sorry PC guys, I'm not sure what the equivalent is. But there are three sizes: small, medium, large, obviously. But that's not the only little caveat here. The main thing is, if you make the terrain manipulator as small as is possible, it will in fact get you many more resources than if you were to do the opposite and make it as large as possible. Why this happens, I do not know, and obviously it will take you longer to mine using the small one, but it will get you the most resources from that deposit, so I would recommend spending the extra time and using the smaller size. When you first start out in No Man's Sky, you won't be able to visit all the different types of star systems in the game until you've learned the blueprints of the cadmium drive, the emerald drive, and the indium drive. Once you have those, you can visit all coloured star systems in the game. But that's not what I'm talking about here. For far too long, I had all three of those installed on my starship, thinking that I needed all of them to visit all the different types of star systems. But no, once you've unlocked and installed the indium drive on your starship, you can safely remove or disassemble the emerald and cadmium drives because they are no longer needed. The indium drive is the only one you need to get to any star system, and it'll save you a couple of slots in your starship's, inventory. You know, when you're out and about and you need to gather some basic yet essential resources, things like oxygen and sodium, and you come across a bunch of them all clumped together. Well, for far too fucking long, I was aiming at each individual plant and then pressing the square button to gather it, but only recently I just found out that if you hold down square, or X on Xbox, or whatever the equivalent button is on PC, it just gathers all of the damn resources up without you having to aim at the plant and hit that button every damn time. How it has taken me this long to figure this out, and in fact the rest of the tips in this video, is just plain annoying, and if I'm being totally honest, well, I hope you guys have learned something new from this to save you the god damn it moments that I've had over the years. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, folks, if there are any other awesome No Man's Sky features that you wish you had known about earlier on that I haven't mentioned in this video, why don't you leave a comment letting us know what that lesser known feature is. The more lesser known features that we can get in the comments section, the better. And there you have it, folks. There are a bunch of awesome but lesser known features about No Man's Sky that I wished I had known earlier. Some of them are kind of obvious to some of you, and some of them you may have learned along the way. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it taught you something new. And if you are still here, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can now become a channel member as well, and as always, thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in the next one.